மணியாயி போச்சு பங்க பிரி.
என்ன பங்கு?
என்ன பங்கா? என்ன ஆட்டோ இது?
சேர் ஆட்டோ.
சேர் ஆட்டோன்னா என்ன?
நீ தான் சொல்ல.
நான் சொல்லவா? ஓ 9 பேர் ஏறாங்கல்ல, அவங்கிட்ட பூரா பணத்தை வசூல் பண்ணி அதை சரி பங்கா பிரிச்சு 10,000 ஏறவனுக்கு சரி பாதியா கொடுக்கறதுக்கு பண்ணா சேர் ஆட்டோ. எல்லாத்தையும் விசாரிச்சு தான் வண்டியில ஏறி இருக்கான். ஏதோ எங்கிட்ட டீலா விடுற காசை குடியா என் ஜீன்ஸ்.
Hi, this is Dhilip Kumar. So in this video, we should cover the topic of Walter's model. So in this context, we like to discuss about the assumption, criticism, formula, as well as the illustration model based on this model. So let's get into the video. Before getting into the topic, I would like to explain one example. That is, if we are the shareholders in the part of the company, we would like to get the dividend from the company which they make profit earlier on that. So in this model, the Walters model defines that if the company is pay out the dividend, this is regarded as a declining firm. If the profit is utilized as retained earnings, then the firm is regarded as a growth firm. So that is the relationship between return on investment, the cost of capital, or the required rate of return is defined by the Walters model. Let's get into the definition. So in this context, we are likely to discuss about the definition. According to Professor Walter, if return is more than the cost of capital, that is, if the firm earns a higher rate of return on its investment than the required rate of return, the firm should retain the earnings. Such firms are termed as growth firms, and the optimum payout would be 0 in their case. This would maximize the value of the share. Yes, I previously talked about this. If the firm doesn't pay out the dividend and reinvest the amount in the same, it would like to maximize the value of the shares. On another case, declining firm which do not have profitable investment, which the firm pay the dividend to the shareholders, that is where R is less than the K, rate of return is less than the cost of capital, the shareholder would stand to gain if the firm distribute its earnings. The optimum dividend payout is 100%. In this case, this is regarded as a declining firm. There is also another case. This is the normal firm. Previously we have talked about the growth firm, declining firm. This is the normal firm, whereas R is equal to K, rate of return is equal to cost of capital. The dividend policy will not affect the market value of shares, as the shareholders will get the same return from the firm as expected by them. For such firm, there is no optimum payout, dividend payout, and the value of the firm would not change with a change in the dividend rate. So now we come to the assumption of Walters model. The first point is the investment of the firm are financed through retained earnings only, and the firm does not use external source of fund. So this assumption, first assumption is the company is only use the funds, source of funds through only the retained earnings, not from the external source of fund. That is next. Second point is the internal rate of return and the cost of capital of the firm are constant. And third one, earning and dividend do not change while determining the value. And the fourth is it should be in the infinite long life of the firm. So these are the assumptions based on the Walters model. Now we define the Walters model formula. P is equal to D plus E minus D into R divided by K, the whole divided by K, where P is equal to price per equity share, also known as market price. D is equal to dividend per share, E is equal to earning per share, E minus D is equal to retained earnings per share, R is equal to internal rate of return on investment, and finally K is equal to cost of equity. Now we move on to the formula applied illustrations.
பவர் சீட்ல இருக்காது சார், அதுல வந்து ஒருத்தன் உட்கார்றான்ல அவன்கிட்ட தான் இருக்கும் நம்ம பவர், அந்த ரகம்.
Now we go through the example and understand the Walters model. A company earns rupees 5 per share. Okay, EPS is capitalized at a rate 10% cost of capital and has a rate of return on investment at 18%. Or according to Walters approach, what should be the price per share at 25% dividend payout ratio? Is this the optimum payout ratio according to Walter? So apply the formula P is equal to D plus R into E minus T divided by cost of capital, the whole divided by cost of capital. So D assumes 25% of rupees 5, that is 1.25, and we get the market price of the share is 80. So assume that this is not the optimum dividend payout ratio from the given solution. Professor Walter suggests that rate of return should be higher than the cost of capital. The firm should adopt a 0% dividend policy and retaining the earnings to maximum the value of the shares. So next, followed by another example, we can get some clarifications. So in this illustration, the following information is available in respect of a firm, that is capitalization rate is given 10%, earning per share is given rupees 50. So the rate of return on investment is given on the different categories of rate, 12%, 8%, 10%. So the effect of dividend policy on market price of shares applying Walters formula when dividend payout ratio is one is 0%, one is 20%, one is 40%. So we see that 0%, 20%, 40%. So when the rate of return is 12% and the dividend payout ratio is 0%, the market price of the share is rupees 600, and the rate of return is 8%, the market price of share is rupees 400, and when the rate of return is 10%, the market price of share is rupees 500. So when market price is 500, the rate of return is 10%. So R is equal to capitalization rate, and 8% is R is less than the capitalization rate, and 12% is R is greater than the capitalization rate in the dividend payout ratio of 0%. So this is an example of when dividend payout is 20%, and when dividend payout is 40%. The market price is 580 on 10% capitalization rate, as well as 10% rate of return, and market price is rupees 420 at market capitalization rate is 10%, and rate of return is 8%, and market price is rupees 500 when the capitalization rate is 10% and rate of return is 10%. This is equal. So this is termed as and assumption as when the rate of return and cost of capital is equal, this is the normal firm, and the rate of return is less than the cost of capital, is termed as a declining firm, and the rate of return is greater than the cost of capital is defined as a growth firm. So this is the model given by the Walters model. So same this 40% sum also. P market price is 560 when capitalization rate is 10% and the rate of return at 12%. So this is followed by them different rate of return. So next we go to the criticism of Walters model.
இந்தாங்களா ஆளுக்கு 50 ரூபா கோணாரில் போய் சாப்பிட்டுக்குங்க. 50 50 50 50 பிடிங்க கம்பெனி 50.
We are in the final conclusion of criticism of Walters model at the end of the slide. So Walters model has been criticized on account of various assumptions made by Professor Walter in formulating his hypothesis. The first one is the basic assumption that investment are financed through retained earning only is seldom true in real world. Firms to raise fund by external financing. So reliable only on the retained earnings is not possible in now today worlds. The firms must include external financing from raising funds through the public. So second criticism, the internal rate of return or also does not remain constant. As a matter of fact, with increased investment, the rate of return also changes. Third one, the assumption that cost of capital K will remain constant also does not hold good, as a firm's risk pattern does not remain constant. It is not proper to assume that K will always remain constant. So the cost of capital is not constant, the rate of return, that is also not remain constant. So this is the criticism faced by the Walters model, as well as main the external fund should raised by public is possible in today world. uh, we does not think that we only maintain the fund only in the retained earnings without paying dividend to the shareholders. So this is also the most criticism faced by the Walters model. Thank you.